Welcome to another presentation in HTML and CSS. In this presentation I will explain to you how to create this table in HTML and then how to style it using a CSS or Cascade style sheets. First thing we have to do is we open our HTML file and we insert the following code in our HTML file to create our table. Once we've done that, we can save it and then go and have a look in our browser what it looks like. If you've done it the way that I've showed you, then this will be what you will see in your browser. You'll notice that there's no style to it at all. It's pretty much just the text as you've entered it on this side over here. Right, also notice that on this area over here I've used TH, which represents the text header, which is the table header, which is this area down here, and I've specified it as a table header because I want this later on to become a different color, so I need to have a way of starting that separate from my rows below. Right, now we move over into our CSS. We go and create a separate style sheet, and in that style sheet we enter the following piece of code. Now, just to explain how this code works, you've got the border of 1 pixel and it needs to be solid black, and you want to apply that to the table data. That means all the data inside the table, as well as the table header, which is this area down here. So you go ahead and you create that code in your CSS and then save it, and then if you look at it through your browser, this will be what you'll see. Right, in this section I'm just adding this little bit of code to the table, and by doing that I've effectively changed the font within my table. I've set the specific size of the font within this table, and I've also indicated the width of the table. That means in my case this table is going to sit in my left hand column, and I'm using 95% of my left hand table for this table to fit in. In other words, the computer will automatically resize this table to make up 95% of my left column. Right, here we go with the table header. This is what I mentioned earlier on. I want to style this area down here to look differently from everything else on the page. And you can see how I've used the table header to set the color to orange, the font itself to be white, and the height of the table to 30 pixels, so it's just about double the size, and I did that to emphasize the header more than the information in the table itself. Right, finally I add this bit of code which I want to affect the table rows, and the table rows I want to set the color to be blue, which you can see the effect down here. You'll notice that it's not jumping into this area, it's not coloring this area blue, purely because I'm only talking about the table rows and not the table heading. So these 3 rows in this case represents the table rows. The font in them is white, and again I've set the height of these table rows to be 15 pixels, and that's it. So if you've carried out everything I've explained, you should then have a table that looks like this in your web page.